What's up, Patriots fans? Harrison Graham here from Chat Sports with another episode of Patriots Today, and we're going to dive into the latest rumors surrounding New England. A lot of coaching chatter. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, a lot of stuff to dive into. We're going to bring in producer Rolly to co-host this episode as well. But before we do that, if you love the Patriots as much as Rolly does, and I've never met someone who's a bigger Patriots fan than him, hit that like button. Let's go. If you want to win another Super Bowl in New England one day, like this video. All right, so let's talk about Bill Belichick, and could the Patriots trade him, which, by the way, he's the GM, so wouldn't he be making that decision? This is just a wild story that's been out there. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk says the Commanders are interested in the Hall of Fame head coach. I got to bring in my guy, Nic Rohloff, a.k.a. Rolly, who you guys are going to get to know more and more. And I don't even know where to start here, Rolly. I mean, there's obviously a lot of talk about Robert Kraft could consider moving on after this season from Bill Belichick. Obviously, they haven't been as good of a franchise since Tom Brady left, especially offensively. Where are you at with Bill at this point?
Yeah, so the thing is, I think I've been pretty outspoken about this to you, Harrison. It's I think he is still a decent coach. I don't want to get this twisted. The Patriots' defense is still very good. He can still coach that side of the ball. The problem I currently have with Bill Belichick is that he is just not competent enough right now in evaluating offensive talent.
Agreed.
There's no coincidence that the Patriots' offense, since Tom Brady left, has been pretty much garbage. They had the good year with Mac Jones in his rookie year, but a lot of those offensive numbers were inflated by that defense because that defense was so good in the regular season. So, I don't know. Bill Belichick, the GM, bad, in my opinion. Bill Belichick, the coach, good.
Yeah, and look, the recent drafts show you that. When is the last major impact player they've drafted on offense? Seriously, name them for me. They've whiffed on countless receivers. Cole Strange has been okay, but he should never have gone first round. That's been pretty well documented. They don't scout well offensively. That's just a fact, and Bill Belichick has to wear that. And look, could you convince him to take a step back as GM and hire a GM? I just don't think he's going to do that with how much he's accomplished in charge of this franchise. And at 71 years old, do you even want to go that route if you're Robert Kraft? Hey, Bill, we still want you to be the head coach, but we're going to ask you to take a step back. You're no longer in charge of player personnel. You're just the head coach. That feels like the in-between thing to do. You need to decide, hey, do you trust Bill to get you out of this rut you've been in the last couple of years, or do you consider moving on? And if you do, could there be a Sean Payton scenario where you trade him to another team that's interested?
Yeah, and we already mentioned the Commanders, and Florio had something to say on that we'll get to in a second. But just thinking about Belichick, it is going to be difficult, even though he has limped here at the possible end of his tenure, that it's going to be hard to get rid of him because of how good he's been for New England and what he's done for Foxborough and the entire area and for the franchise. Every success this organization has ever had in a realistic matter is because of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Obviously, the debates have gone on and on about who was the main driver of that success, but it's just it's hard to comprehend Bill Belichick not being the head coach of the New England Patriots. And I'd love to keep him, but when he's making bad GM decisions like he has been with the offensive picks, listen, hindsight's 20/20, and obviously you guys can't vet this take that I had, but when the Patriots took Tyquan Thornton a couple of years ago in the second round above George Pickens.
Another brutal pick.
I thought that was the most idiotic thing of all time. I thought George Pickens was a first-round talent, and he slid. The Patriots had the opportunity to take him. They were eyeing wide receiver, and they went with the speed guy who can never stay on the field, and even when he is healthy, he's inactive.
And look, we'll get to this Florio quote in a second, but I've said this a million times, Rolly, when talking about sports. These legendary coaches and players and et cetera, very rarely does it end the way they want it to. I mean, how many coaches have gone out on top? Usually they lose a step at the end, and it's just time. They either feel like they have to retire, or the university forces him out. Like, I think it could happen in Alabama with Nick Saban. Like, that program hasn't fallen as far as the Patriots have here, but like, there's not many scenarios where you're like, yep, I'm going to win a Super Bowl and retire the next year. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. And these guys are such competitors, and they've won at the highest level for a reason that they have a tough time walking away from it. I don't look at Bill Belichick and see a guy that wants to walk away. I feel like he wants to fix it. The question is, do you have the belief that he can fix it? And if there are doubts in your mind, if you're Robert Kraft, then as hard as it is, you have to make a change. That is your job as the owner of this franchise to say, hey, man, it's been 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, since Tom Brady's left. We've had 1 decent team and 3 not very good teams. Like, we appreciate everything you've done. The statue's going to go up outside Gillette Stadium, all that stuff. But we got to go in a new direction. So you can either announce your resignation or retirement. We can try to trade you. Or if you give me no choice, we can fire you. And I'm not saying they're at the point where they should fire him, but if you've made that decision, if you're Robert Kraft, then that is something you have to consider if you are him, as hard as it would be. Now, here's Florio saying, so the Patriots wouldn't fire him in this scenario where Washington would land him, but they would trade him to Washington. And that gets a whole, like, other can of worms going. Like, what would you get in return? Is it just kind of one of these mutual situations? Who the hell knows? But I want to hear what Patriots fans have to say. Would you trade Belichick after the season? Type Y for yes, type in for no. And Rolly, I want to get your thoughts on this before we get to Prize Picks here. As a lifelong Patriots fan as you are, seeing all the Lombardis Belichick has raised, would you rather them trade him to another franchise or just move on from him and let him make a decision of what he wants to do? Because trading him almost feels worse in a sense. Like, not only are you moving on, you're giving him to someone else.
So ironically enough, I understand what you're saying, but in true Patriots fashion, would it not be the Bill Belichick move to do to move
trade
on
himself?
Move on from not really so much trading himself, Harrison, but like more or less trading an elite player that is past his prime for anything in return. People like to go back to the story about Rob Gronkowski. Belichick traded him.
Yeah.
And then he just said, well, if you trade me to the Lions, I'm going to just flat out retire. It's something that he has done his entire career as GM/coach is he looks to move on from the big-name guys before they decline and take advantage of their notoriety and get more value for the team. So it would be hard to see Belichick get traded and kind of be forced on his way out, but it would almost be the Bill Belichick thing to do. So I'd honestly think he might respect it.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season is in full swing, and I've had a blast winning up to 25 times my money, which you can as well with Prize Picks. And now with basketball season here, I'm playing almost every single night with the NBA underway as well. All you got to do on these entries is pick 2 to 6 players, and if they will go for more or less than their projected stats, place your entry. It takes less than a minute to complete. Get signed up today, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Here's one of my 3-player entries I've got cooked up here. DJ Moore, less than 56.5 receiving yards. Cole Kmet, more than 34.5. And then Alvin Kamara, more than 36.5 receiving yards as well. 10 to win 50 on this entry. Start making money with Prize Picks today. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. All right, we're not going to spend as much time on this one, but Josh McDaniels obviously out in Vegas. He got canned. So did Dave Ziegler, a couple of Patriots guys, obviously. Should the Patriots bring him back as offensive coordinator? Now, obviously, Mac Jones had his best season of his career with Josh McDaniels back in his rookie year, threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. Since then, has only thrown 23 total touchdowns. The turnovers have creeped up. He's had some flashes with Bill O'Brien this year, but it definitely hasn't been as consistent. Real quick, Rolly, any interest in Josh McDaniels? Like, to me, especially with how ugly it got in Vegas, I just feel like that ship has sailed. Like, you've gone back to the well plenty of times over the years. I don't know if it makes sense to go back one more time.
Yeah, listen, I like McDaniels. He has not performed anywhere really else other than New England. Maybe that's because of Tom Brady as well when he was OC here in New England. But he did have that one good year with Mac where he He made Jones look like someone who could be a franchise quarterback, but you just simply cannot bring him back. And it kind of goes back to one last thing I'll tie in here, Harrison, about Bill Belichick, is that Bill loves to bring back guys he's comfortable working with, whether it be player-related or coach-related. Like bringing back Matt Patricia as OC because he's a friend or a colleague that he knows how he works and knows how the Patriots organization works. It's a bad idea.
It's a tight-knit circle that Belichick
Stop doing it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And let's be honest, too. There's a good chance they're moving on from Mac Jones. Like, to me, the only appeal of bringing back McDaniels would be he had success with Mac Jones. But if you're moving on from Mac Jones, then there's really no point. So I don't think that makes sense. And quite frankly, I don't think the conversation around McDaniels is very positive at all in NFL circles. I know he's had some good runs in New England, but I just don't think you go down that route again. But what say you? Maybe you disagree. Should the Patriots bring back Josh McDaniels? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let us know in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. Rolly and I got you covered with more Patriots news and rumors. Rolly might even hit you guys with a video tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. If not, we'll have a post-game show after the game this weekend. So hit that sub button. We'll see you guys soon here on the channel.